Hey, we're back and we are looking at hypothyroid patterns. Today we are on number 5 and we're going to talk about thyroid overconversion. And last time we talked about thyroid underconversion of T4 to T3. And today we're going to look at when the body has too much T3. And it's very interesting because just like in insulin resistance where the cells will block if you have too much blood sugar, too much insulin there, same thing's true when T3 is too high, the cells will actually block and you'll become thyroid resistant to the thyroid hormone. Another thing that's very common with this particular pattern is that TBG, which is basically the taxi for the thyroid hormone, it's normally down on the blood work. It's way down. So the net sum of too much of this and the cells blocking the thyroid hormone and the taxis that transport the thyroid hormone going down, the net sum of that is a hypothyroid condition or a pattern. And the common causes of too much T3 a lot of times is when testosterone is really high, and this could be from hormone replacement, or a condition we'll talk about here in a second, or if insulin's too high as well. These are the two common patterns we see with this that creates this type of hypothyroid pattern. Now, very common among women is polycystic ovary syndrome, or PCOS for short. This is the main cause of hormone imbalances among women, and 4 to 10% of menstruating women have this condition. And it's pretty serious because this is the number one cause of infertility among women. So we want to try to figure out what this is all about. PCOS is really about an insulin resistance issue or a pattern. And what you can look for on lab work, even though it's not mentioned here, that if your insulin's above a 5, then there's an issue right there. But if it's double digits, then you have multiple issues whether you realize it or not. You'll also see that the glucose on labs will be above 100. The optimal range for glucose is 80 to 90. So if you're above 100 on the glucose, triglycerides above 100, cholesterol above 240, and if triglycerides are above the cholesterol, then that's a major sign that, yeah, this pattern may be going on. LDL above 150, and the HDL, the good cholesterol or good taxis, below 50. So if all those things are showing up, this could definitely be the pattern and connected to the fact that we're having some issues with blood sugar. Now, there's a vicious cycle that goes on when insulin goes up. When insulin goes up, testosterone also goes up. And when testosterone goes up, insulin goes up. So it's like this vicious cycle that's connected to this whole pattern. And you would just think, just by maybe changing the diet and cutting out the carbs, that the problem would be over. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But there's some things you have to do before you can correct this particular pattern. That diet will play a big role in it. But as you'll see here in a second, we'll get to it. But common symptoms are inability to lose weight, and this is what I'm talking about. Even they go on a diet, they won't be able to lose weight. Hair loss, fatigue after meals, hormone imbalances, again, high testosterone. They may even have high estrogen as well. And sugar cravings. This could be even after meals, but these are just some common symptoms with PCOS and or this type of pattern. Now, the way you address this is pretty much head on. You're doing 3 main things. You have to deal with the blood sugar. And we'll talk maybe a little bit more about this later on, but blood sugar, if you do not balance it, you will not be able to overcome a thyroid issue. Because of the chemical storm that blood sugar, when it's high or low, can cause major hormone fluctuations, and it will totally inhibit the conversion of T4 to T3, or it will inhibit other things in the body that will just block the thyroid from being able to work properly. So blood sugar is absolutely essential to get that balanced out. Even if you're on certain medications or whatever, maybe you have to get that blood sugar working optimally in the right ranges for the thyroid to perform optimally. The other one is hormone balance as well. The hormones need to be balanced. And in this particular pattern, especially testosterone, It needs to get cleared from the body. And the way that gets cleared is through the liver and gallbladder. There's two main phases of detoxification. In phase one, you take a fat-soluble hormone and you transform it into a water-soluble thing. So in the second phase of detoxification, it can pass through the urine, the feces, or through your sweat. Well, for the second phase of detoxification, the thyroid is intimately connected to that. So if you have thyroid issues, you may not be able to do the second phase of detoxification for the liver. So you may need to get some help there. Now, to overcome this, all three of these really need to be addressed. So you may need to get a comprehensive lab to see where your T3 is at. A lot of people don't get their T3 tested unless they have hyperthyroidism or something like that. And you got to know where that's at, especially if you're having heart palpitations or kind of weird symptoms. And not too many people get this marker also tested as well. So you may need to get appropriate testing. You may need to find out where your blood sugar and some of your lipid markers are at, and hormones as well. There's a really awesome lab that I like using that not only gives the hormone information, but gives the information on the liver as well, how well it's methylating and detoxing certain hormones. So if you're interested in overcoming this pattern, I'll have a link below for the thyroid and even tying into the hormones as well. Thanks.